Hey everybody, welcome back to Grain-Free Homestead. I'm Stephanie. Tonight we're going to make some grain-free pizza for the family. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through the steps of everything that we're going to do to make the pizza. So it's a pretty simple recipe. You start out first, I double the recipe. So it's about 3 cups of mozzarella cheese, 2 ounces of cream cheese. It is 1.5 cups of almond flour, a couple eggs beaten, and then the seasoning is kind of whatever you like to do it. So I do about a teaspoon of garlic powder. I do about a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder and about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. So you can kind of play with the seasonings however you like on that. Okay, so I'm going to mix up the first step. The first step is to melt the 2 cheeses together. So you take the mozzarella cheese and the cream cheese, and you just pop them in the microwave for a minute, and then after a minute it's in 30-second increments. Okay, so what you want from that is you want it to get good and hot, and you want it to be stringy like cheese. You don't want it to still be dry or crumbly or break up. Okay, so you're looking for, you keep heating it up. I use a spoon because it does get really, really hot until it's like doughy cheese. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, we've got our cheese microwaved. I don't know if you can see it or not. Doesn't look like you can. But it's like one big kind of glob in there, okay? So it's kind of doughy looking, and that's what you want, all right? So I'm going to set that to the side. It does get pretty hot. And the next step is to add the eggs in. So you take 2 beaten eggs, and the cheese is pretty hot, so it's okay if it takes just a minute to beat them up. It kind of lets the cheese cool down just a little bit so it doesn't cook your eggs. So you add the eggs and the almond flour and the seasoning all together. So the almond flour does kind of help protect the eggs a little bit, cools it all down a little bit too. Okay, so we're gonna get this all mixed up. I'm gonna put my almond flour in first. So this is 1.5 cups of almond flour. My eggs. And then my garlic powder and Italian seasoning. I'm not using any onion powder, I don't know, just don't want to tonight. So I am going to put in my teaspoon of garlic powder, and right about just under a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Probably about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, we're going to get that mixing all together. I will let you know once you get it kind of going. I usually give my hands a good wash, and then I have to like use my hands to get it to knead all together. Okay, so I'm going to work on mixing this together, and then we'll show you the dough. Okay, so you get kind of like this dough ball right here. Okay, so the next step is just going to be to spread it out on the pan and get it baking. next thing we're gonna do is spread the dough out on the pan. So I usually use parchment paper. It just makes it easier for cleanup, doesn't stick, that sort of thing. So on the pan that I made my bacon on, I've already got my bacon over here waiting. I poured my grease, I saved my grease, but you know, the little bit of grease that's left, I like to spread that on there good and evenly. And that's what I use to grease my pan instead of having to grease it, and it also kind of flavors it a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna spread the dough out, poke some holes, pop it in the oven. It's at 375. You just kind of let it get 5 to 8 minutes. Let it brown just a little bit, okay? Okay, got the dough on the pan, so I'm just gonna spread it out. And the easiest way that I found to do it is I keep the cold water dripping in the sink, and I just keep constantly putting cold water on my fingertips. That way it doesn't stick to my fingers, and it just spreads out a whole lot easier. Now I doubled my recipe for a cookie sheet size pan. If you keep working it and keep pressing it, it's plenty of dough for this size pan. So, but the water really does help keep it from sticking to your hands. Okay, I got the dough all spread out. I'm gonna poke some holes in it and pop it in the oven. After we let this bake for 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how quick it browns, I'll get it out and I'll show you how we top our pizza. Okay, so we got our pizza dough out. You can see I just get it a little bit golden. I don't know if you can see that or not. And the next step's super easy, just like with any other pizza. You put your toppings on. I do like to use the premium marinara from Aldi. It's my favorite. Doesn't have any added sugar or anything like that, so that's why I like it. So you just put your sauce on like normal. Thinking about canning pizza sauce this year. If you have a really good recipe, I would love it if you leave it in the comments below, because I'm using marinara and I'm sure that pizza sauce is a little thicker or sweeter. Just let me know what you think. Okay, I like to put a little bit of cheese down first. Then we're going to start adding our toppings. Our toppings, we had some sausage from our whole hog that we get, pepperoni, we have some chopped onions, and bacon. Alrighty, that's it. I'm going to wash my hands and pop in the oven. Alright, I'm going to top it with a little more cheese. Alrighty, it's ready to go in the oven.
2 cups of mozzarella cheese shredded. One cup of almond flour. And about 4 tablespoons of cream cheese. All right, you want to add 2 eggs after you get out of the microwave. A little bit of garlic powder, about a teaspoon, and you want to mix that in real good, and it should start to stick together and mix real well. All right, I forgot to add some baking powder, so I went back and I'm putting in a teaspoon of baking powder. All right, take the dough and put it on some parchment paper and spread it around. 4 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm going to get some minced garlic. Get a few teaspoons of this. It's kind of as much as you want, really. I like a lot of garlic, so. Got some parsley flakes. Don't really have to measure this out. It's a teaspoon. Just kind of. A little bit of onion powder. About the same teaspoon. Mix all that together. Make a garlic butter. You want to get a good Parmesan cheese and shred it over your dough. Cover the bread with the garlic butter. You put this in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until it gets brown on the edges, and it's ready.
Okay guys, the pizza's out, cheese sticks are out. They're the cheesy garlic breadsticks that Derek made. They're pretty good. You can see they get brown underneath, cheesy, garlicky. So I'm gonna give one a try real quick. They're good. They're just as good as the pizza. We got marinara on the table. We're gonna dip them in. I think that garlic butter that's on the top, that's what does it. It's really, really good.
Wow.
So we're gonna cut up our pizza and we're gonna dig in. Everybody's hungry and want to know when we're gonna eat. All right. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.
Who doesn't? Yeah. This pizza is so good, we're coming back for seconds. There is now no breadsticks left. See you guys later. God bless.